Good evening and welcome. Bang on time tonight. How about that for timing? Absolutely bang on time. You could not write it if you wanted, could you? 2030 in the house. Ready, willing, and able. Good evening. Frank Casey first in the house. Abadel French, good evening to you. Graham Allison, good evening. Karen Evans, good evening. Michael McLaughlin, good evening to you, sir. Well, what can we say about today? Not a lot, really. Freaking hell, I'm looking like a split mattress. Look at the state of me. I'm looking like a split mattress. Hello, Paul Jarvis. How are you? Obviously, there's something more important than television tonight. There's only 9 of you in the house. It's got to be, obviously. Well, we got one thumbs up anyway, so it doesn't matter, does it? That's it. That's made my night. Peter Piper. I was only thinking about Peter Piper the other day. Not seen him on the live feed on a Sunday night. I was just hoping he was all right. All right, Peter, how you doing? Everything all right, mate? Tim Weston, good evening to you. So we had Jeff Harroway's in the house as well. Good evening, Jeffrey. Yesterday, wasn't it lovely and cool? I thought, yes, we can get back to dog training weather. And then today, it's coming hot again. And she's had me bloody gardening. Building a pond. Pond life. Good evening, Christopher. Been crazy busy. There you go. Good for you, boy. Paul Jarvis, very good, thanks all for asking. Off tomorrow, so no early bed tonight. What the frickin' does that mean? You're on a promise.
Not working tomorrow.
Oh, you're not working tomorrow. I thought you're on a promise. I thought you're freaking off. You're off for a good one, for a session. Good evening, Denver. Nice to hear you, Denver. Yesterday, wet. Plenty of water for the pond. Was it that wet yesterday? Was it, Sue? Not here, was it? It did rain in the evening, didn't it? Duck pond for dog training. There you go. How about that, eh? Kevin Polhill, good evening to you all. He says, there you go. So that's we've had 2 minutes of introductions of hello, everybody. You're all here. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. We've had 2 thumbs up already, and I've not said a frigging word. How about that? Imagine I said something important. Imagine I said something worth freaking talking about. So what we're going to talk about is that bloody kiss. That bloody kiss for that bloke playing football kissed that woman. Can you believe the nonsense that's going on about it? For God's sake. Have you never seen 2 men kiss each other after scoring a serious goal? What's this world coming to, isn't it? When we're all starting to bitch about he should be castrated, he should be struck off, and it was a spur of the moment madness, wasn't it? Okay, he was wrong. But if she said, yeah, have it, and then she changed her mind, you can't do nothing right these days. Duck me, the world's ducked. Tell me about it, Karen. Tell me about it. The whole freaking world in it is like crazy in it at the moment. You've got that King Wu John in it. What's his freaking name? From Seoul, is it? I don't know. Freaking what's his name? Arsehole? Yin Yang Hung. And he's kicking off, and he's gone off talking to Trump, isn't he? Not Trump. Trump talks to everyone. Putin. He's been talking to Putin, isn't he? Talking about Rocket Man, making rockets to the... Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Imagine. Yeah, we'll sell you a nuclear bomb. We'll sell you a nuclear bomb. You can't make them. You only make fireworks, but we'll sell you one because we've got loads of them. Good evening, Bill Lewis. Good evening to you. Michael McLaughlin, never mind the women's game about the rugby. Bloody don't talk to me about the bloody rugby. What about Scotland? They did bloody well in the first half. And what happened in the freaking second half? But I tell you what, that Welsh game was a brilliant game. Anybody watched the Welsh game? That was a cracker. Anyway, we're supposed to be only talking about dog training. We're 4 minutes in, and no one's mentioned nothing about freaking dogs. No one's asked me a question about dog training, have they? Come on, fire away. Dog questions, come on. Oh my God, Sue's in the house. She's in the house, all right. She's got a freaking week off. I'm working like a freaking idiot.
I have 5 days.
Oh no, she hasn't week off. Do you know what? Do you know what, everyone? This is what's happening at the moment. Everything I say, we could argue over a piece of lettuce. Everything I say, that's not lettuce, that's a cabbage. We could argue over anything. I'd say, listen, should we get that plant? No. What if we get the other plant? What about that plant we saw last week? What about this plant? No. Let's just put the freaking plant in the trolley and let's get out of here, can we? Can we stop having a debate about every freaking plant that we buy? And then we get back and I say, listen, I'm the labourer, I'm the designer, you tell me where you want the plant and I'll just like, yeah, okay, let's have it there. At no point have I said, no, we're not having a plant there.
Liar, pants are on fire.
Oh, liar, pants are on fire. Honestly, we've been together that long. I just let her do what she wants. You need to work smarter, not harder. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. She goes, well, what if you move that soil over there to over there? I said, hang on, there's a freaking spade there. Why move it from there to there and then move it to there to there? But guess what? We get on so well in the garden, don't we, darling?
Yeah, you've got it all done.
Got it all done, she says.
After listening to me.
After listening to Susie Two Shoes. Julian Lees, good evening. I made a pond. I put a liner in it, filled it up, went back the next day, 3/4 of the water gone. I said, listen, that's not working. She says, no, that's because you used 2 parts of a liner. Most people got 1 liner and that takes in the water. You've put 2 pieces in. All right, okay. So I went and got a bath where I used to just sit in a cold bath out in the garden and drink a few beers when she was at work and think this is wonderful. So I stuck the bath in the hole, put the plug in and said, that ain't going to leak, is it? Fill that up. And then put the soil around it, put the plants around it, put a freaking top on it. Honestly, it looks like
a bath.
Oh, hear that? It looks like a bath, she says. It
lovely.
still looks like a bath, she says.
It looks lovely.
Our garden is all pots, easy to move as directed by the head gardener.
That's the way to do it, Graham.
This is it. We know when you're doing gardening, I mean, this isn't a dog training site tonight, is it? When you're doing gardening, just do what the wife freaking wants, eh? And everything will be fine. But I can't believe it. I goes, put that fern just there. Where there? No, not there. There. No, not there. There. Where do you want it? There. Where? Next to your freaking hand. And she moves her hand. So then it's like another 10 minutes. Where's your freaking hand now? Pointing to where you said it was. I tell you what, you have to have the patience of a freaking saint.
I have to have the patience.
Oh, she has to have the patience of a saint.
And lucky I have.
Just imagine it was like that with dog training. Just imagine everybody who came to you was like what Gary had to cope with last week. What Gary had to cope with. Like someone giving no sort of feedback about what you're telling them. Peter Piper, for fuck's sake, Monty Don. Tell me about it. Monty Don just gets on with it. He's never got his freaking wife in the garden, has he, Peter? Hey? Do you know when us blokes, good evening, not Thames guys. Do you know when us blokes go in the shop to get something to eat? We go down the aisles that we're looking for the food, don't we? So if we want the egg, yeah, I'll tell you, Peter Piper, we want eggs. We go down the egg aisle in the supermarket, don't we? We look at the top of every aisle, and when it says eggs, we go down there and get the freaking eggs. Not my wife. We do the same aisle 17 freaking times when I go shopping with her because she keeps detouring back. And then on the way through, she'll find something else she wants. Except when the wife always says, right. I don't know. Where do you want it? Exactly.
And then you put it in the hole. No, turn it, do this, do that, do that.
The thing is, I thought manual labor was a Spanish citizen. I didn't realize it was a husband. It was a husband following the wife around the garden. But
poor old Michael McLaughlin. He's looking for tips.
I'm looking for tips from you on how to cope with empty nest syndrome. Youngest off to college on Monday. Michael, it's bloody hard. It's bloody hard. When they leave, you've had them round you all that time. They've done your freaking head in. You've grown up. You've had that relationship. And then when they're off to university, college, or freaking work, working away, you're like a freaking blubbering baby. I remember my lad when he went off to university in Leicester. He was crying at the door, and I thought, for frick's sake, don't do that. That freaking upset me. Mother's in tears. Honestly, I tell you, it's nearly as bad as losing a dog, isn't it? Shut up, you lot. Shut up. Giving away my trade secrets. So I can't help you there, Michael. It breaks your heart, doesn't it? It's like losing your best mates, isn't it? Your kids of that age, when they got that independence and they got to get up and go, and you've got to let them, don't you? That's life, isn't it? And it's like they're moving up and moving on. But we had one went into the army, and the other one went to university, and we found it hard because you're used to everybody around you, aren't you? In your family like nest, isn't it? Your family setup.
And you cook far too much.
I still cook far too much. We always got stuff left over.
No, when they leave, you see seem to
Yeah,
cook too much.
still
don't
cook
they?
too much when they left. Yeah, they've been gone for 35 years. I'm still cooking too much, she says. But the dogs do all right out of it anyway. No, Gary built a bloody decent pond. I'm talking about a cheapy pond. But hey, talk about a cheapy pond. There's nothing cheap about it. By the time you put the plants around it, you dig the bath into the freaking, then you panel it, then you put wooden rails all around it, and it looks quite nice. Then you put the plants around, and then you put the water plants in the freaking bath, so she can't go out there and have a sneaky bath and a pee, on the quiet. I just don't believe the price of it all. Unbelievable. But what it's doing, what she keeps saying to me is, listen, Chris, you're like Rocky. You're getting fit for the combat, the fight. You'll be up on them hills, running them hills with them dogs in a minute. But I'm freaking like doing 15 minutes and then sitting down on the chair, panting like a pig, trying to get oxygen, then doing a bit more and a bit more. But it's getting better, isn't it, Sue? I'm lasting about 15, 20 minutes now. And then she come in this evening after she's worked really hard. Yeah, I give her that. She's worked really hard. I went, that's me screwed then, isn't it? She says, what's that? I said, there'll be no sex tonight the way you're feeling. She's walking. She's actually walking like Ozzy freaking Osbourne round the house. She's like that. I had to then cook tea before met you lot tonight. And I'm sitting there thinking, I've only got half an hour left. Cooked tea, raced out, got the shopping, went to the garden centre, dug the holes, planted everything. She went, we got it all done, didn't we? And I'm thinking, I'm absolutely knackered. I don't like this age shit. Honestly, this age shit is not much fun. Trust me. Anyway, we're talking about dog training, aren't we?
Julian says, make sure the pond is deep enough. 2 terraces. Forget that, Julian. It's in. It's done.
Sorry, Julian. What do you mean? 2 terraces?
You've got to have for plants that.
We've already done that. We've done that. Yeah. Jules, we're 3 steps ahead of you, mate. And the aquatic plants in baskets. Yes, Jules. And we put gravel in the bottom first, so we make an eco-friendly little pond. And then he goes, you don't want algae in there because I went, why? He said, you want to keep algae down. I said, why? He said, because it'll kill the fish. I said, there's no fucking fish in it. Everyone's a freaking expert in it. And I'm thinking, do not tell everyone, Sue, in the shop we're using a bath. Pretend it's a real pond.
Well, it's got it
Don't tell everyone we're using a bath.
It's got it out the way, isn't it? Very good.
So now I'm screwed. If I want to go out for one of them, what's his Hoffman? What's his name? What's the name? Freaking freezing cold bath with ice in. Yeah, I tried that. I loved it. It was brilliant. And she says, what are you doing sitting in the bath in the garden? So I thought, right, okay, I'll bury it. So I buried the bath. So as I'm digging the hole, I says, can you just lay down in that just to check that it's large enough? She says, what for? I says, for you. If you keep nagging the shit out of me today. Honestly, it's freaking hard work. Freaking manual labor. I'm an artist. I design things. I don't do manual labor normally. Anyway.
On to dog training.
On to dog training, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Chris Upton here. It's only a 15-minute rant before we started. Has anybody got any questions about dog training? Paul Jarvis, do not talk about the hot tub. I went in the shop. I showed her the hot tub. That was like a freaking French Inquisition of how you keep it up to freaking, you can't have any germs in it. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. Does that mean you can't have sex in the hot tub because of floating semen? I said, hang on. I want a hot tub to have a bit of fun with. I've watched some of the films where they got 6 women in the hot tub bouncing around with hardly anything on. I only want to put the wife in there, and you're telling me that I'm going to have to clean the hot tub out if she spills red wine in there. I mean, and she ain't getting in the hot tub without red wine. I'm telling you, because she's like prudish, and I'd have to get her pissed before she got in there naked. Simple as that. So to get her into the hot tub naked, I'd have to offer wine, and if she dropped the wine into the hot tub, we need a re-ramp, and we need to empty all the water out. We need to let it settle, put all the chemicals in. I just thought it was like a freaking bath. Let's be honest, guys. Who's ever pissed in the bath? Come on, let's have some honesty here. There's got to be a few of you.
I'll be surprised if anybody says
Come on. Come on. Sue said she'd be surprised if anyone's ever. I got to confess, I've done it. It's normal in Wigan. Exactly. Exactly. Well done, Denver. Tim Weston, well done. Sue's going, us bastards. She said, you dirty bastards. Unless you live in Sandwich. Of course.
I'm shocked.
She's shocked. She's shocked. She'd never pee in the bath.
Yeah, dirty, rotten.
Not into the bath pissing.
Thank you, Michael. I'm shocked. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them.
So listen to this, everyone. See in the background there. See that thing there in the background? Do you know what that is? Tell me what that is in the background, everyone. That thing there. Can you see it? You just see it. Look. What is it? Anybody know what it is? She wanted to wait. Anybody know what that is in the background just there? Can you see it? Yeah. How about the swimming pool, Denver? I've been in the swimming pool as a kid and seen shit fucking floating on the top. I mean, that is disgraceful, isn't it, compared to a piss, isn't it? I mean, a piss in the swimming pool is only a quick dash of yellow. It's like an octopus giving a squirt, isn't it? And then it all freaking disappears, doesn't it? With all the dirty bastards, you lot. Yeah, true stories. And she was posh for Wigan. The only people in Wigan get out of the bath to have a piss. There you go. It's clean up the bath piss. That there, what is it? Come on. No one knows what it is.
Well, Jen said a Dyson.
Oh, Dyson, yeah, Denver, you're right. It's a Dyson, yeah. It's a Dyson fan. Well, I've been struggling with oxygen levels in my blood, right? And so they suggested getting a fan that would clear the air of any air particles and then have it in the bedroom. I haven't got a window in my bedroom. Unfortunately, I got locked in a cellar as a child and I'm still in it. So my bedroom hasn't got a window, so that heat, I couldn't open the window. It was so freaking hot on there. My eye popped. I think I got blood in my eye and all that shit. I don't know if some of you saw it. Yeah, so it's a heat. It's a cooling fan, but it also cleans the air. So it clears the air.
Definitely does, Denver.
Well, what happened yesterday? Let me tell you. I farted in the front room. And we had a green line on the thing, and I wanted to see if it would pick it up. By God, it picked it up, and it threw it across the room, the fart, in the breeze, right to Sue. And she's going, That bloody stinks, that does. That bloody stinks, right? And she's never ever complained about me farting before. But because this has got a nice fan on it, it went right across the room to her spot and hit her directly. And then I looked at the level that was green to say that you got perfect air, and it went contamination. It even knows when you fart. That's how good it is. And it circulates your fart, draws it back in, cleans it, and throws it back out again for Sue.
And cheese.
And cheese. We had cheese in here the other night with biscuits, and it fucking went invasion of air. I don't know if it's a humidifier, Jules. I don't think it's an humidifier. We got one of them out in the. They collect water, don't they? Humidifier. This thing doesn't. This thing purifier. So it purifies Sue smoking that freaking stupid freaking thing that she said it's got. Oh, it has got nicotine in it. You know them vapes. It cleans up the vape and goes, nah, your husband's not putting up with that shit. Clean it. So it helps keep bad smells away from you. Perfect for me. It's your bowels from 2 weeks ago. It's purified. No, 2 weeks ago, I had to leave the show early, didn't I? I apologize for that. For anyone who was watching, I hope none of you laughed at me and thought it was hilarious. Right? That doesn't happen very often, but I do know what it was. It was the prawns we had in the restaurant. Absolute. As soon as I had them, I knew they weren't right. And then it told me when I got home. And I was in pain on here. You don't realize how long I sat here in absolute pain. If I'd had this humidifier then, Jesus Christ, you would have all known about it. The alarms would have gone off. Sue says she bought it for your chest, but it's really just a kind way of saying your farts stink poo. No, Karen. No, she's in all the years we've been together, she has never said, Jesus Christ, that smells. It was the fact that this fan blew it directly in her face. So there you go. So we've not talked about dogs all night. We're into 22 minutes. We've covered farting, spitting, and wife beating. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about? Pond life, yeah. The pond life, it all started with, this is how it started. I didn't go, wake up in the morning and go, oh, let's build a pond. I built, my kennels run out to the back, and out the back, the dogs have got to run. And then from there, when I'm cleaning the kennels out, the water runs into the garden, and I put drainage in. So the drainage goes further and further, and I've extended the drainage, and it goes further and further. And then I think, well, I need a soakaway. So I built a soakaway. And the soakaway was put in, big soakaway, and I thought, that's fine. And by the time it gets down there, it's so diluted, any piss through the jet spray and everything, it's just a soakaway. So we put the soakaway in, and then thought to myself, oh, the pipe is so low now. When the soakaway fills up, the freaking pipe's below the soakaway. What a knob I am. My brain wasn't thinking. It should have been higher, so it dropped into the freaking soakaway, and then the soakaway as it come up. But the way I did it, so I thought, okay, I'll just turn it into I'll put reeds in there, and all the plants that will clean it. You know, I don't know if you know that if somebody makes a compost toilet and they put in the pipework, if you put in reeds and enough stuff, it neutralizes, doesn't it? It neutralizes it, and it regenerates it. And that's what they do, don't they? With the waste. So some people do that when they want to be off grid or whatever. So I thought, well, same scenario for the dogs. I pick up all the shit. All I'm doing is washing down the yard. Yes, there'll be some excrement in there that's diluted to absolutely nothing, and it'll just be dog piss that's diluted into water, and it will run away and then soak away. So that's how it all started. And then I thought, oh shit, just turn it into a freaking, put the bath in there. The bath is higher than the freaking pipe. The pipe will still filter away underneath. with everything in there. So there is a method to this madness. It is dog training related, if you think about it. It's if you enjoy what you do in life, sometimes you have to get yourself dirty and deal with shit. And where they say if there's shit, there's money, don't they? Where there's shit, there's money. Well, I tell you what, I wish I could afford to get someone in to say, "Can you dig the frickin' hole?" But no, Sue wouldn't dig it. I had to bid it. I read that ex-bully breed is likely to be banned soon. I've been saying it for the last 18 months. The problem is, Kieran, the problem is they're a status symbol. Good evening, Steve Pace. They're a status symbol, and it's not the dog, it's not the breeding, it's in the wrong hands. But even in the right hands, sometimes those dogs, I mean, people don't realize, do they? Dickhead dogs, I call them. Yeah, exactly, because they belong to dickheads most of the time, don't they? And that's the honest truth about it, isn't it? Majority of them, you blaming the wrong end of leash. But I think to myself, listen, there's certain dogs for certain things, isn't there? And if you've got a dog, Ridgeback, they're ideal for bringing down boar or bringing down freaking tigers, lions. I mean, what the freaking hell do you need one of them in this country? How often do you walk down the fucking town and see a fucking lion racing at you or a boar? How often are you going out doing that sort of stuff? Horses for courses, I say. Horses for courses. But then again, you could say, couldn't you, that look at your dog, for instance, Karen. Your dog. You put up a great video the other day of you showing what your dog can do. He's playing tug. Tell everybody, Karen, what sort of dog it is, please. Tell them how old it is. But you've got good control. You're giving it structure. You're giving it something to do, and it's nice to see. It's a pleasure to see that dog and you are a partnership, and that dog loves you. There you go. Julie needs a Mallee, a bloody Mallee, a Mallee cat. But the thing is, you've got kids, and if that dog is not right and it becomes overprotective towards you, then that dog can become a problem dog. It's roughly 18 months old, Mallee stroke German mix, and he's what?
And he's so fucking clever.
He's so fucking clever. Ask him what 11 and 11 is, Karen. They are clever. They pick it up so quick, don't they? But it was nice to see. It was nice to see you had the control. You can see that you've put the time into the dog, and you can see that you're enjoying yourself, and that gives you structure. And at the end of the day, it gives the kids something to look at, doesn't it? And I like the fact that you get your kids actively involved in so many other things as well, camping, shooting. And I think it's wonderful, Karen, that you're giving them more of life than a lot of people can imagine. And it's the countryside way, isn't it? It's that hunter gatherer, isn't it? It's like there's something wonderful about it, isn't there? But kids won't understand it unless they've seen it and had it. And me as a kid, I didn't see and have it. I wasn't lucky enough to have a father or a guardian that would give you that time. Give you that time. This dog is not for anyone that doesn't have half an idea of what proper dog handling is. There you go, Karen. There you go. A lady asked me yesterday how to stop a border collie herding cows. I said I don't own her.
I said don't own a herding breed.
This is it, isn't it? This is it. Horses for courses, as they say, isn't it? Horses for courses. I tell you what, Karen. You know, earlier you said that dog is so clever. Ask it what German for out is. Out. What is German for out? Anybody else got any questions? Anybody go? No, I'm reading all the questions. I can't. Who saw Larry's latest video? Did anyone see Larry's latest video? It was absolutely hilarious, wasn't it? I talked about this on the live feed, for our live feed the other day. That someone said to Larry, "You've not been answering my emails." And Larry went on one, didn't he? It was so funny, wasn't it? It was so funny. And I can relate to him 100%. Do you know that the last 5 or 6 videos we put up with that couple from Wales, such a cheerful, happy couple, weren't they? That's it, Michael. You're dead right, mate. You're dead right. It doesn't matter what background you come from, whether you're rich or poor, it's how you interact and how you build that family bond, that key, isn't it? And that's so important. And I've seen that so much with Karen and Haley, and it's a pleasure to watch the time they put into the kids and it's about memories, isn't it? And memories are so important. It doesn't matter what you go through life. If you can click back and go, those memories of my childhood were fantastic. That's what it's about, isn't it? So anyway, what we're talking about? We're talking about. What was I talking about? I was just going into Larry the Lamb. Larry the Lamb. So I get people contact me all the time and they ask me questions about dog training. And the first thing I say to them is, are you on Patreon? Now, what I didn't say to the couple that came from Wales last week is, are you on Patreon? So I did the videos and she said, can you send me the video where you're talking about my bottom? You can't beat a trainer like me, can you? Can you send me the video where you're talking about my bottom? So I thought that they were on Patreon. So I did all the videos and put them on Patreon and never had a comment from them. I thought that was strange. Had some lovely comments from other people. Their dogs were not of a brilliant standard, but they were keen. They got lovely dogs. You can see they love their dogs. They got to put the work in, and they will improve if they want to improve. But you'll only improve if you put the work in. As simple as that. And I had a look at the dogs, and if the dogs were showing real top promise, I would have been the first one to say, absolutely unbelievable, fantastic, well done. But instantly I could see they had a problem with a number of different issues, but I had to address one issue, and I addressed the walking on the lead without pulling, and then I addressed the issue of the long line and how to work a long line. And a lot of you will know that because you're in Patreon and you watch the videos. I thought the videos were entertaining, but I was being a little bit, you could say, slightly over friendly, but not in a nasty way. They were very friendly, and I was being a bit, not flippant, but playful. So that's what I did with the videos. I actually added kung fu fighting to it. Did you see the way he was throwing the dummies? I was in stitches. I swear to you, I was in stitches and when I was watching it. And I'm not taking the piss out of them. I'm laughing with them. And that's the difference. I have never, ever thought the standard of someone's training was so poor, I'm just going to take the piss out of them. They weren't. Individually, they may have been great, but I could see straight away what they needed to address. And the whole story is she contacted me. She's a lovely lady. And she contacted me and she says, my husband follows you. And it would be a lovely surprise if we're coming down Cornwall. I've done it on purpose. I've booked a holiday, and I'd like to come round and have a lesson and pay for a lesson with him and surprise him. So that was lovely, wasn't it? That's what she did. Never seen anyone throw a dummy like that. It was brilliant, wasn't it, Steve? Fucking honestly, everyone loved kung fu fighting 2 dummies. The dog was like, what the fuck? Which one do I look at first? It was so funny. And such a nice couple as well. And that's the whole point. They were such a friendly, nice couple. And yet they were arguing like cat and dog, weren't they? Husband and wife. I mean, but like you could see that they were just a good relationship, wasn't it? And they could do it. But freaking, I'd be turning around going, shut the fuck up, I'm listening, Sue. It would be like completely different if me and Sue were there. But they just gelled, they just bounced off each other in their own way. And I thought it was one of them, not comedy moments, but light-hearted. They've come to see someone they've watched on a video, and it's like they think you're a rock star, and I'm not a freaking rock star, but they've watched so many videos on YouTube, and I didn't realize that that's where they'd been watching them over the years on YouTube, and they all disappeared, and they still watch the odd video, and they didn't know about my Patreon site. So I thought they were on Patreon on Wednesday night, on Sunday night. I said, I hope I've not pissed them off. I hope I'm not pissed them off by being too freaking funny and putting up that music. I thought the Worst Cup of His were really good, said Michael. Yes, needs improvement, and they would love it to get the real thing and get on the real birds. Yeah, and the whole point of it is I can't put everything up on the World Wide Web, because I don't want them people getting freaking attacked for, like, how could you let that man correct your dog like that? All that shit that we've had before. So it's on Patreon. So I think I said to them, I'll put the videos up, they'll be on Patreon. They never said nothing. So on Sunday, I said, I hope I've not upset them, because I've not had one comment back. And there were some nice comments from Patreon members. And I thought, oh no, I perhaps freaking gone a little bit too far. Where, look at Gary with that other guy, we won't mention names, and how negative he was, and how he wasn't interested. It was like watching paint dry to him. It wasn't giving him what he wanted in his eyes, and yet Gary was such a diplomat. Well, sometimes I say it straight. For frick's sake, tell her to shut up, and you freaking listen to me, or vice versa. And I had to edit some of the videos that if I put it up, you'd understand what I'm saying, because she was so funny, but she was so direct. Sorry, I'm late. He's freaking late. You're late, and we're just talking about you. You're late. All right, Gary. So what I'm saying is, Gary was a diplomat with his lesson. Absolute. How he kept calm, I just freaking don't know. I'd have let rip. It would have been one of them car crashes with me. Give him food, Gary. Give him food. Food. And I think Gary was a diplomat. And there's me, not taking the piss, but having a laugh, because I believe humor is sometimes it breaks it down rather than do it. For Christ's sake, you can't have a 4-year-old dog doing this. You've got to be doing this.
It all depends who's in front of you.
Yeah, and it all depends. It's about reading the person, in it. And if I was reading that bloke that Gary was with, I'd be like fucking pulling my hair out, going, frickin' hell, this bloke's not interested. We've not mentioned any names. We're not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, I'd have thought, frickin' forget that. I'm wasting my frigging time. But he was so polite. Gary was so polite. So anyway, cut a long story short, I thought they were on Patreon and we had no comments. And I thought, have I upset him? I've upset him. Because deep down, I know you all think I'm an hard bastard and I don't give a shit, but I actually do. I do give it. No, don't give it away, Chris. Don't freaking tell them that. But I do. I care that people have come all that way. They've seen somebody who they think is like, oh, he just wants to meet you. He just wants to say hello. Anyway, I think she wanted to meet me more than he did. And I have that effect with all women. That's why we got a lot of women on here tonight. See, we got no women on here tonight. Any women in here tonight? Anybody on here? Is it all a male thing tonight? Is it? Can we just be doing a bit of male bonding? Can we? Any women in the house? I didn't see any women in the house this evening. No. They've all gone off me, haven't they? They've freaking gone off me.
Oh, one.
Who?
Me.
Oh, Susan. Yeah, but she's not a woman, is she?
Oh no, two.
She's a girl. Tracy does. Good evening, Tracy. I mean, not being funny, Sue's just a witch with a broomstick, isn't she? Lisa says you have a lovely calming voice. Yeah, right, okay. Not like you, Gary. Anyway, so guess what, everyone? She contacted me this morning, the Welsh couple, and she sent me a video of the dog walking on the lead perfect. And she said, thanks to you, look what I've got. And that made my little heart go, yep, I know what I'm talking about. And as long as you do what we show you, you'll get there. And I said to her, Oh, I'm pleased you come back with that. I was a little bit worried. I thought that I'd upset you because of the way I was turned it into a bit of a joke, a bit of a laugh with the videos with him, the kung fu fighting and the freaking you two arguing. And she said, I haven't seen the videos. I said, well, what do you mean you haven't seen the videos? They're on Patreon. And she said, no, we're not on Patreon. We watch them on YouTube. Well, how did I know? How did I know? Have I got a crystal bloody ball? Anyway, she joined. So she joined. She came back to me and said, we've not watched such fun on television for absolutely freaking ages. You had us in stitches. That's the way to do it. See? Humour can get you out the shit. Humour can soften the situation. If you can make them laugh, that's why, as a youngster, I had no problem pulling. I wasn't good looking, but I had the gift of the gab. Shut up, Sue. Gary, good looking, gift of the gab. He can't go freaking wrong. Everyone on the group's going, oh, Gary's got the patience of a saint. No one has ever said, Chris Upton, you handled that so well. You had the patience of a saint.
Hang on, Julian, hang on here. Julian Lee says your lesson and comments with the Welsh couple were brilliant. You are a professional trainer and a down-to-earth, honest human being with a sense of humour.
Julian, the whiskey's in the post. Julian, you got my memo then? And you repeated it just right, Julian. Timing was perfection there. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it is, Gary, isn't it? It's always great when you get good feedback. But generally, and I've trained thousands and thousands of people, nobody wants a negative feedback. When you put your heart and soul into it, you put your heart and soul into it, they're not going to have the perfect dogs. It's as simple as that. You have to accept that. You've got to go to another level if they want the perfect dogs. But what they can have is quality that they can take dogs out and they're not be pulling their arms off, and they're not be they've learned to disobey. And it's so important that if you give a command, it's got to be followed through. And I watched back on Gary's video and I thought to myself, everything you said was spot on. The advice you gave, if someone doesn't want to take that advice on, that's completely up to them. That's completely up to them. But guess what? We're not exposing it for the World Wide Web. We're not naming names. We're just talking about the skill set of becoming a good trainer and having that. You've got to have the gift of the gab, and that's Gary's got it. Gary's got it, but he also knows what he's talking about because he's took his time to learn. He's got a dog that will do everything for him at his side, and it's a pleasure to watch when he's given a demonstration. He goes, listen, this is what the dog should be doing. It's not talking bullshit because you've been to, doggy school for freaking 3 weeks and you've got a certificate. He's put the groundwork in. He's put 5 years plus into following it the Corleone way. And I looked at his lesson and I thought, really, really well done. It makes me proud when a person that I put forward and recommend takes a lesson like that and handles it the way he does. Now, I perhaps got that artistic license, being dyslexic and a twat, to say it the way I say it, because it's what Gary does is up to Gary. Don't get me wrong, but in some ways he might think, I don't want to let the side down. I've been recommended by Corleone. I want to help people and get results, and I totally understand. But me, if I get some obnoxious little shit, I'm going to tell him he's an obnoxious little shit, because I know it's just as good for viewing as not for viewing, because that stops the obnoxious little shits coming who think they know better. Why come if you know better? Sit at home, twiddle your thumbs, and keep watching the freaking internet where you get so confused you don't know which way you're turning. If you're using an e-collar and you haven't corrected it, you're using food-based training and you haven't corrected it, and you're not willing to listen to Gary that knows how to train a dog to a very high standard, I say fuck you. Bye-bye. It's simple. Simple.
Well, Michael's got it right. Someone with a closed mindset, it's impossible to train or help.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying about Larry. Larry was on the other day, and he was saying that someone contacted him and said, you haven't answered my email. And he read through the email. He told us he read through the email, and it was like quite winded, and he didn't want to address it because it would take a lot longer, and he flicked through it. And then they sent another email, and it was quite winded, and he didn't flick through it. He flicked through it, but he just carried on. You cannot answer when you've got a following, like Larry's got a massive following compared to me because he does a lot of pet dogs. I'm a specialist, so it's not the same. And he had a client that said, hang on, I had a client that said he was a police handler. Let's talk about police dog handlers, please. Everything I said he wasn't listening to, just talking shit about his dad. I thought, why isn't he training it and the dog's a mess? Exactly, Karen. Exactly. But let's be honest, Karen, and I'm not being rude here. I know 5 or 6 police dog handlers, ex-police dog handlers, never been impressed with their training. They're one-trick ponies. They know one way. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but I know 5 or 6 that I just wouldn't recommend anyway. In your dreams, Julian. Sorry, Julian, what's been going on?
Well, he said,
Nearly missed this again. Hi, Chris. What the freaking hell's going on? Can you stop it? Sue, can you swap the whiskey for you for what? Sue, can I swap it?
you said whatever is the thing, and he said single malt, please. So I said Julian Tesco's own brand. So he says, Sue, can I swap the whiskey for you for a week? So I came back with in your dreams, Julian. Sorry, but sweet dreams. And he's laughing.
Listen, you two, get a fucking room, will you?
He certainly is, Michael.
Get a room, will you? Get a freaking room. Honestly, I'm busy. I can't be watching the wife as well, Jules. That's Julian is a bit of a flirt. He is, isn't he? He's a freaking, honestly. Do you know what he did the other week? He sent freaking load of squirrel skins and put a thing of chocolate in there for Sue.
Yeah, because he's a darling.
Because he's a darling, she says. He's a darling. Yeah, you got to watch him. Honestly, I tell you what, if he died tomorrow, he'd be at the funeral and be going, can I come round for the wake? Can I stay the evening, Sue? Can my dog sit on the sofa? She'd go, yeah, okay, because Chris never let a dog sit on the sofa. Oh, let's talk about dogs on sofas. You should have seen the clients I had today. If Sue left Chris for a week, it would be
He would be thin and a do squirrel skin.
What the freaking hell's that mean?
You wouldn't be thin because you could do all the cooking, wouldn't you?
I do all the cooking, Karen. What are you on about? I wouldn't be thin.
Gary said Larry's post made me laugh.
Yeah, it was funny, wasn't it? And so Larry ripped into that woman, didn't he? Because I have exactly the same situation. Like I was going back to that before I was rudely interrupted about this freaking bromance that's going on. Yeah, and I get it. I get it where people send me email and want advice for free, and they're not willing to be on Patreon, and you know they just want a direct answer of how to sort the problem out. Now, sometimes you can address it and speak to them if you're not that busy, but other times you can't. You have to look after your paid customers. It's as simple as that. And I'm lucky to have a following that I get paid customers. And Larry's going, I take me out after you boys who've got Patreon sites because you don't have the same freaking problem. No, because you can't do it all. Because it's amazing how you put out information on the internet or you show videos on the internet and people think, I want that. I'm going to ask that bloke. And I got people who ring me nearly every week. And they're in the group. Because if they're not in the group, I go, hang on, mate. You have to join Patreon. You have to do this. But I get people ring me on a regular basis and want to have a chat with me. Well, it's completely different if you're in a group. I mean, it's like Julian can come here and stay 3 days, no problem at all. And he can do the dishes. I'll do the cooking. And he can do the dishes. That'll save Sue doing the dishes. But at the end of the day, a stranger a stranger coming out with comments like that wants to take my wife away from me. What would I do? What would I do if he turned up in his softback Rolls Royce, leather hide seats, sunglasses and his cravat on, and he says, Susie, baby, I'm free. And she jumped in with him and went off into the sunset. What would I do? He's not thinking about that, is he? He's not thinking about that, is he? She's gone quiet. She's thinking about it in the background.
No, I'm not. Sorry, I missed what the actual start of it was. I was reading the comments.
What the freaking hell's going on? What's your thoughts on the XL bullies, Chris? I actually had to run in with one, and the owner, it never went well. What do you mean it never went well?
It's Barry, actually. It's Barry Lamb. Oh, it says Bill Lamb. He's lost his login details.
Oh, right. Sorry, Barry. Barry, I've never trained bullies. I'm not into bullies. Over the years, I've always taken on a bully. It's not been a dog. So I really have not got much. Yeah, Julian would turn up with Borax and ask where is Upton. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine he says, sprinkle this on Chris for the next 3 nights, and I'll see you in 3 days, Sue. Because they're talking about banning them in the UK. Do you know what, Barry? I honestly don't. It makes no difference to me. We've talked about this earlier. Perhaps you weren't here. And I said, look, it's normally the person who owns the freaking dog that's the problem, isn't it? But let's be honest. If it gets away, no problem, Barry. If it gets away from the owner, and it's not very sociable, then you cause problems. And one of the things that I say is a little bit worrying for me. This is talking about protection dogs, teaching the dogs to bite and out. Some people can do it, and some people are creating a monster. It's as simple as that. If you don't know how to make that dog out, and you use punishment to make the dog out in a very primitive way, and you don't know how to use punishment correctly at the right time, if you can get the dog to out with gameplay, you've got a seriously good dog if it's outing because it wants to play the game. Then you've got a dog that's listening to you. But if you've got a dog that will only out with pain, then you're creating a monster. If it gets loose, it sees movement, sees somebody running, and you've been teaching it to pull people down. And these dogs become a status symbol for some people. And that's the problem in my eyes. But I don't even think of anything about them in reality because I am not a specialist in that area. I never ever wanted one, never felt the urge to freaking buy one. I've never felt that I need a dog of that sort at my side to make me feel hard or make me feel important. I've never had the issues. Are crime everywhere on the rise. People, this bully, Terran with zero knowledge of breed of dogs in general. And the fact is as well, is they're not like a gun dog. Then they haven't got that same mindset. The harder you go in on them, the harder you turn them on. It's no different. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I was going to say it's no different than being in the bedroom with Sue. The harder she is with me, the more turned on I get. Every time she says, no, not tonight, darling, that just drives me even further to want to push and try harder. Anyway, I thought that was the last few words I was going to say, but I still got 6 minutes. But I'm not going down that rabbit hole because I started going down that rabbit hole. Then I pulled myself back out the rabbit hole. Then I went down the rabbit hole a little bit more. And now we're back into bullies. The ex-bully is the Council Estate Staffordshire Bull Terrier of the 90s. Yeah. And being overloved and neglected in training. Exactly. They are a status dog, and the people that buy them shouldn't have dogs, in my opinion. There you go. It's nice to have everybody giving their opinion. That's
Michael said, what about the XL bully attack during the week? That was dreadful, wasn't it?
terrible.
The Walk Society needs a real look at it. So.
Yeah, but funny enough, I wrote something on Patreon on Facebook this week. The teachers were saying it's down to the parents to make your kids go to school. Make your kids go to school. Did you hear that? Make your kids, not your kids make the decision. So the teachers push that over to you and say, hang on, it's not our fault if your kid doesn't turn up at school. Well, hang on. If the kids aren't turning up at school, you could say you're not stimulating them enough. You're not giving them enough desire to want to come to school. Now, I hated school, and I can see exactly where a lot of kids would feel that school is irrelevant. What do you learn? But hey, isn't it fantastic if you can come out of school with some qualifications? Simple as that. But I was dyslexic, and it was slightly different, and it was the 70s, and the school teachers didn't give a shit. Now they've got certain levels to reach and all this shit. But if you're not going to school, I saw a program the other day where the government and the teachers says it's down to the parents to make them go to school. Hang on, you can make your child do something, but you can't make your dog. You're not allowed to force your dog. Well, what are you going to do if your kid don't go to school and your kid knows there's no rules, there's no discipline? You can't use discipline. You can't use threat. That is like bullying. That is intimidating. That is not the way everything. Well, hang on. Isn't it the woke society we live in? I'll tell you what, I used to bunk off school, but I was shit scared that I'd bump into my father. As simple as that. As simple as that. But I wouldn't. So, what about Biggie Smalls then? Careful where you put the peanut butter with the bully. Yeah, tell me about it, so tell me. Bollocks, that, wasn't it, eh? Load of bollocks, that, isn't it? Why would you smother peanut butter on your bollocks and let your dog lick it off your bollocks? He's not called Biggie Small anymore, is he? Biggie used to be small. No, Biggie used to be big. Now he's definitely small. So the whole point of it is I don't get myself involved in that sort of stuff because it's not my world. It's as simple as that. But if you want my opinion, ban them. Oh, I've upset a few people now, and I ban them.
Not really, because if it saves a life.
So it wouldn't bother me if they did ban them, to be honest. It wouldn't bother me in the slightest. And I think it would be a safer place for everybody else, wouldn't it? But then what dog would they move on to next? What would they breed next? By the way, I never hit my kids. I don't need to. The Xbox works better.
Yeah, take it away.
Take it away, Karen, eh? You cruel bastard. Do you know what? Psychologically, they'll be broken as teenagers. They will be broken when they reach 21 and they say, my dad used to take the bloody Xbox off us. Yeah, remember that, eh? Remember that, eh? My dad used to, every time I come home from school with my school report, I knew I was in for a frigging hiding. He used to get his belt off and he used to freaking lash me with the belt. And he was doing it because he loved me. Well, that's what he told me. Right? Now, being dyslexic and struggling like shit, it was hard enough as it was at school. And when you went home, you knew we were in for a freaking hiding as well. But I've never held it and freaking like made a big issue of it all my life, saying my freaking dad hated me. My dad grew up with that sort of way of bringing up, harden you up. They didn't know what dyslexia was. The teachers didn't know what dyslexia was. They just thought you're playing up. And at the end of the day, I shouldn't be laughing. It's all right, Gary. You fucking have a laugh. I was just about to break down and be fucking serious. I've only got fucking 30 seconds left. I'm going to try and leave you all crying. Anyway, it was funny because one day I decided to put a book down my pants. And that, thank God my dad never dropped me freaking pants to smack me on the bare arse as I got older. But I remember him hitting me with a belt. And it went bang. And you could tell straight away I had something stuffed down my pants, a book. Like, as if that's going to freaking work. What a freaking idiot I was. I think I'm probably 11 or something like that, yeah. And he then started hitting me all over the body with a belt. Freaking thought, next time, don't put a book down there. You learn, don't you, by your mistakes? You learn by your mistakes. But have I needed counselling? Have I needed a psychologist? Do I need to lay on somebody's couch to explain why I'm the person I am or why I have these problems and I can't cope with life? I think it's sad at the moment, isn't it? When you see all these people having mental breakdowns or, contemplating suicide. Don't you think that society has made us too soft these days? Don't you think that? I agree with Kieran. I think that if I could count maybe 3 or 4 times that I'd whack the kids in all the years, that would be it. Right? But don't forget, we're going back a generation before Kieran in a way, aren't we? And I used to get it all the time. And Sue didn't have it right in a relationship with her father. And it was generations, wasn't it? Generations moved down, and I don't know if we're going in the right direction in a way.
No, I think we've gone too.
I watched that Piers Morgan thing. Sorry to go on, but I watched that Piers Morgan thing where it says the kid comes to school and said he wants to identify as a what was it? A horse?
You said a cat.
A cat. Want to identify as a cat. So everybody in the class had to talk to the kid like a cat. And the kid would go meow. Frick me. In my day, you'd be lined up for a freaking 6 freaking canines for that shit. Let's see how you can howl. You might want to be a dog next week. Our fathers were too lazy flair about what was right and what was wrong, most likely overcompensating for their father's firmness. Exactly, Jay. Exactly. But you can't say, I cannot honestly say, although I got whacked around, I don't think I got whacked for no reason. I was lucky. I wasn't beaten for no reason. My father never used to come in pissed and go, I'm taking it out on you, you little fucker, because I'm feeling freaking like I want to give somebody a good hiding. No, I was lucky in that way. And some people have gone through that, and they must be terrible for people. But guess what? It's unbelievable in our today's society. You can't talk to me like that. You can't say that to me. How can you send your kid to school and say you are going to school when everyone tells you you haven't got the right to tell them what to do? They've got to make that decision. Am I doing, is that what you want to do? Is that...
If you don't send them to school, you get fined.
Yeah, if you don't send them to school, like Sue says, you get fined. So it's all right to throw it back on the parents, isn't it, when it suits?
Denver says, went to my kids' school yesterday and was told they can choose if they do homework or not because they don't want to create stress.
I know, Denver. This is the old problem. And this is the problem. You can go to school now and say, I want to be a bloke. I want to be a girl. I want to be a freaking donkey. I want to be a cat. And the freaking teachers have to take you seriously. But, I mean, what a freaking playground that would be if it was me back in the 70s. What are you today, Upton? I'm a J and I've just flown out the window. Feed them cat food. Exactly, Frank Casey. Exactly. The system is freaking broke. And you've got freaking teachers with rainbow charts, and you can't say this because it'll offend the child. You can't say that, it'll offend the child. But we'll just pass the parenting onto the parents to say, You've got to make sure they come to school. Well, make the school enjoyable. Make the school somewhere the kid wants to go and learn, because it's no different than dog training, is it? Let's finish on this note. If dog training is fun-based, you get far more out of fun-based than you do discipline. But you can't have all fun-based. And that's exactly the same as kids. That's exactly the same as school. Make schools interesting for kids. Kids will want to go to school. Not all kids are academically gifted. Some kids are sports gifted. Push them down that road. Some kids are hands-on. Metalwork, woodwork, give them more of that. So they can go out, they can get an apprenticeship, they can go out in that direction. But to put everybody in the same category, and then when it comes to exam times, freaking people who struggle, who they've not even picked up on the radar that you're a struggler, then why go down that Victorian road that you've got to cite your times table, you've got to do the alphabet, you've got to, oh, I'm on a rant here, and I could spend 3 hours on here with you lot talking about this shit. But it's no different than dog training, is it? It's no different. I insist on Shakespearean activities, ye and thou. Yeah, exactly. But I've been following religion lately because I'm turning the other cheek. I'm let's hope they like tennis. Who likes tennis? But I'd love to. When I was at school, I excelled in sports. I excelled in metalwork and woodwork, and for some reason, I liked history. I liked looking at history, but mathematics, English, I struggled like crazy. I enjoyed cookery. I enjoyed cookery. There was a beautiful, beautiful cookery teacher that she used to give me damp patches, but that's another story. Anyway, on that note, you've had 6 minutes more. The school teachers, you follow the system 9 to 5, building young entrepreneurs like they should be. Exactly.
Well, Denver said he went to the kid's school because my son smacked a kid that was bullying him. Was told we teach kind hands.
Yeah, right. Freaking, you should exactly, Denver. Should have been to the school we went. The teachers used to come down on the banks and watch the fights. They were that good. Anyway, bollocks to you all. Thanks for tuning in. Chris Upton signing off. You've had 7 minutes extra tonight. I've been on a freaking rant tonight. I'm sorry about that. I should go back to dog training tonight. But do you know what? I reckon if this Richie Sunak is absolute shite, isn't he? Let's be honest. I reckon if that job comes up, I may put myself up for it. Anyway, good night, everyone. Great talking to you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bollocks to you all, and perhaps see you next week if you think it's funny enough, entertaining enough, or stupid enough. Catch you all. Chris Upton and Sue signing off. Bollocks, good one tonight. Enjoyed the chat. Good night, Karen.